Hi guys, so welcome back to my YouTube. Today I just thought I'll give you a bit of an insight into how I'm eating during my competition prep. For any of you who see my last video, I did mention that I'm actually macro tracking for this competition prep, which is something I've never done before, but I just wanted to give you a bit more of an insight into the sorts of foods I'm eating and how I prepare those foods as well. So I'm going to be cooking. I am the designated rice cooker. For anyone who's seen Kerry cook rice before, you'll know it's not the best. So that's why I'm here.
Heard my name, now you're mugging me off. Oh dear. No, yeah, to be fair, I can't cook the rice very well.
So Kerry's cooking rice and she thinks she's done good.
What is wrong with that?
That is not normal. Look how much water is there. I think next time I'm going to have to cook it.
What's wrong? It's perfect, look. That's actual perfect rice. What? So that is his job, which he's very good at. Proud of you, pat on the back. And
right.
I just do everything else.
So yeah, let's get to it. Yeah. So I can see Kerry set me up to try and make me look bad because this is not the pot I cook rice in. There's a better pot, so I'm going to actually get that out. Jasmine rice, always. This is the actual pot that I need, but I'll make it work. So one thing I always do with cooking rice first of all is actually I just give it a little bit of a wash. It just makes it a little bit easier to cook, less starchy, and it gets it ready. Kerry's laughing because she didn't think I could cook. When we were first together, she used to always cook.
Still do.
And I just, yeah, she still does. I just stay in the background and act like I don't know what I'm doing. And one day when I seen Kerry cook rice, what looked like rice pudding, I had to step in and step up. And since then, I've always been cooking it.
I'm literally just preparing the chicken, to be fair. So pretty standard. Got chicken mince as well, which I'm going to do. So don't worry, Mark, I'm cutting it up small for you.
Thank you very much. I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm just better than Kerry.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Right, are you using both sides here? 2 pans?
Yeah, can you not do it on this one or will that not work?
Can
or is that
do.
too small? I can, yeah, we're going to need like all of the pans fired up, to be honest.
So this is actually the pot what I wanted, but I'll make do with this.
When you're a rice cooker pro, does it matter what pan you use? So, this is actually your meal too then, won't it? It'll be nice and fresh for you to eat.
Yeah, so try to kind of cook foods fresh as we go where possible. And something with rice, I don't want to cook too much when it's sitting in the fridge for days on end, just because I'm not a great fan of warming up loads of rice. So this is probably going to last me 2 days at max. So I just like to cook it in bulk just to make it a little bit easier. So I am a macro tracker. When I first started competing in 2012, I always had a set meal plan. I would never think there's another way to do things because I've always done it a set way. Since I've met Kerry, she's big on macro tracking. I've had the most productive off-season this off-season, and that's down to macro tracking, and Kerry definitely takes some credit for that as well. Well, a lot of credit for that because she cooks the meals apart from the rice. So moving into prep now, well, even in off-season, my heaviest weight that I got up to was 302 pounds. I've never been that heavy before, and I'm not someone who enjoys eating, especially not enjoying eating like a large volume of food. So being able to macro track and have the variety of different foods definitely made it easier, because if I had a set meal plan for the months on end during off season, I think I probably would have failed, just because I like to have a bit of variety and it makes it a lot easier to eat the food. So now I'm transitioning to prep. I'm now on my 5th week of prep. I'm still macro tracking. I always said when I started prep that I always said to Cal when I started prep that I'm actually going to get him to write me a meal plan, but I thought it's worked so well in the off season, why not carry it over now into prep? And from what I know, not many people do follow it this way, especially bodybuilders or open bodybuilders. I could be wrong, but it's worked well and I'm enjoying it. So
I think, yeah, from my perspective, it's worked really well as well. Like, I just know that in the past, you've struggled to get food in, haven't you? Because you've always done it that, like, bro kind of way. So having some flexibility, like, we keep, like, I macro track as well. We keep the base of everything. Like, we have eggs, we have fish, we have red meat, we have, like, everything that you would typically have. But there is some room for, like, flexibility in the fact that, like, if you want something different, you can generally just choose to, and it's made it easier, like just being able to, like, have a few cookies in off season or something, just to fill that gap of calories to get cookies in as well. Like, it's life. I think you need to, like, enjoy foods as well, and that's what you've been able to do. And I think it's good because you're not creating a bad, like, relationship, thinking like there's good and bad foods. You haven't had, like, obviously an eating disorder or anything anyway, have you? But
that's it. So yeah, like Kerry said, it's just having that flexibility. The past 2 weeks, for some reason, I've just really wanted king prawns. In the off season, never even crossed my mind, but being able to macro track and still be on prep and have that different source of protein, I don't actually feel guilty for it. Whereas if I was on prep and I fancied it and I had a set meal plan, I just wouldn't be able to have it because it's not on my plan. So I think that's definitely a positive to take from macro tracking. Let me just quickly check my rice. Yeah, that's all good. So a couple of weeks ago, I met up with a friend. He was coming down, Adrian, he's a bodybuilder, really good friend. And he said, let's go out for some food. And because I am macro tracking, I was able to do that. Whereas before in the past, and I was on prep and someone asked me, let's go out for food, I'd be like, no, I can't do it. I'm on prep. I'm not going to do it. And I'm not the sort of person to take my meal prep out with me to a restaurant. So completely different. Kerry mapped out my food, what I was going to eat when we went to Nando's. So I already knew that I was going to eat my chicken. I was going to have some rice with it as well. And I also took my scales to Nando's. Now, Kerry didn't think I was going to take it. But
no, I was like, you need to, don't you? Because, and this is another thing, like, there's, on the menus at the moment, they have started adding calories in, but you can absolutely guarantee that the chef isn't going to be standing there weighing it out. So we just said to him, let's, like, pick. So I just, like, put in that meal. He chose the meal that he wanted, which was just chicken and rice. And we literally just mapped out, like, the rest of the day around it. And on MyFitnessPal, they do come up with Nando's, and it does come up with the grams as well. So he just sent over the grams and we were able to just put it in. But I was actually really surprised that he did it because he's always been so, like, used to that. Like, it actually threw me. I was thinking, I wonder if he will go out for food or whether he'll just decide to do something different. But I think it's really cool, and he's still, like, where he needs to be for his goal as well. So yeah, it's great.
That's it, because even when I was weighing out my food, my friend, I asked him, like, how do you do your meal plan? How do you get on? He said that he had a set meal plan, and he said, I couldn't do what you're doing because I need to be told this is the food that I've got to eat. Whereas for me, that's how I used to think. Whereas now there's a complete different shift, and I'm liking the shift because I know that there's still ways to achieve your goal without being what I would say is restricted. And that's nothing against anyone who follows a set meal plan, because everyone follows a way what's comfortable for them. But for me, doing a new way, I'm really enjoying it. And although I'm on prep, and I know it's only 5 weeks, I don't feel like I'm on prep, because if I want something different to what I would normally eat, I can do. And that's the beauty of macro tracking.
Our meal plan isn't always the same. Like, but we'll have the same evening meal. Like, if you're on a meal plan, it might have been, like, different, but we can just have the same evening meal, but just different, like, quantities. It just makes it, like, a little bit funner. But, like, even for me, I really like sweets. They're the thing that kind of, like, make me tick. And I'm only on, like, 1,300 calories, but I'll still eat sweets, just like 20 grams or something pre-workout, and not feel the need to eat more or binge. And it just, like, hits the spot. And, like, I don't feel like I'm on a contest prep either, even though that is pretty low calories, obviously in comparison to yours. But it's the same with you, isn't it? You like, your thing is like orange juice, isn't it? You like just a bit of orange juice here and there.
in the off season, I was just loving just having some orange juice, like 400 ml orange juice, and it's kind of carried over. It's not kind of, it has carried over now into my competition prep. It's almost just gives me that, I don't know, sort of satisfaction because it's something I really enjoy. And if I had gone from off season straight now into competition prep and that was taken away, I felt like I would have missed it. Whereas that's not the case now. So it's quite nice to have that option of orange juice.
Yeah, I think there's so many different viewpoints on macro tracking. Like when you say, oh, I macro track, people probably initially think, oh, you just eat like rubbish foods and macro track them. But it's not the case. We're still smart. We still want to look after our health, and we still enjoy eating like these kind of foods. But it is just flexible. Like it's just really flexible. If he wants something pre-workout, like even if you want sweets or cookies or something, you can still have it because you've got enough calories and you're getting nutritious food in. You track your vegetables. Make sure it's...
So even my fruit and veg, I'm making sure I'm getting between 650 to 700 grams a day. So my micronutrients are being met. It's not like I'm ignoring that and just replacing it with any foods exactly I want to eat, which I am to a certain extent, but I know what's good for me and what my body needs as well. So I'm making sure I'm getting the nutrition in as well.
It's just being smart, isn't it, really, at the same time? How's your rice coming along?
Yeah, it's doing the job.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's doing good. Jasmine rice is going to be cooked to perfection. To be fair, I've heard a lot of people say about getting a rice cooker, which is something I could probably do or probably should do. But sometimes when I'm out here cooking the rice, I'll just be walking up and down because it's another way to get steps in while I'm here as well. So I'm multitasking. So whoever said men can't multitask are wrong.
It's just rice, isn't it? That's all you can multitask with rice, and that's about it.
But you can't cook the rice like me, so...
I think next time I'm going to perfect this and I'm going to prove that I can cook rice at some point. But it does save me a job, to be fair, because literally I cook like everything and get everything ready. He'll have to show you some of his meals in a minute, actually, to be fair. Because we kind of do have like a staple-ish routine of like the food and the meals that we do have. So we're not fully like off a plan. We kind of formulated our own plan, really, with the foods that we do enjoy. So obviously you do pick up like your favourite kind of foods, don't you? So, yeah. And mine is chicken mince. Love chicken mince, but I hate chicken breast. Like this, to be fair, even though it's the same thing. But he gets through this so quickly anyway, like rapidly. This will probably last us like, I don't know, maybe like 3 meals.
So for anyone who doesn't macro track, there's quite a few different apps out there where you can track food. So there's MyFitnessPal and Chronometer. Is it Chronometer?
Yeah, Chronometer.
Chronometer as well. I can't even get the words out. But I guess the main difference between Chronometer compared to MyFitnessPal is you can just track your micronutrients a lot better. So something what Kerry does, even though we use MyFitnessPal mainly for me, she'll also use Chronometer just to see where the values are at, because it's quite cool. It gives you a little like a bar where it tells you when you meet your targets as well. So it's really useful to know where I'm at.
It's important, but I also keep it both separate, like, because I don't want to be deleting foods. It's good to look back. So he literally is my FitnessPal app. Like all of his food will stay on there, even though we've like run it through Chronometer. But yeah, mine will stay on Chronometer, so we know like we can look back on X day if we like need to or something.
I think this is like what I think is pretty cool. Both of us both do bodybuilding and enjoy what we're doing, so we just bounce off each other. So we both eat chicken, we both eat rice. It's just easy, it just flows and works well.
It does, doesn't it? It's like down to like the mentality as well. We never really shut up about bodybuilding, which might sound really sad to some people, but I think we just like to talk about it all the time and like about our progress and stuff, don't we? So it does work really well. If I have a low day, you've got a high day, we're always pulling each other up and through. So I literally wouldn't have it any other way.
Your low day is probably a low day of food, and my high day is a high day of food.
Your breakfast is my whole like day of food. That's mad when you think about it.
And we do actually put some spices on the food as well, so
it's always the same one.
It's not plain. So what we got?
You have on his chicken. He'll have
this one,
the barbecue seasoning,
See, I don't even know what goes on there. I'm holding the wrong one, but
with a bit of garlic, and then I just like to have the smoked paprika and garlic. But sometimes I switch up for him as well. But generally, that's his. You've got like a barbecue obsession, haven't you? So
yeah, so pretty much any food I eat, whole food, it's going to have barbecue sauce on it. That's just my thing. Yeah. So another thing just to add as well, my daily intake of salt is 12 grams. So generally we don't cook with salt at all. Where is my salt?
Your salt is here.
So weigh your salt out for the day. So I know exactly that I'm hitting my 12 grams of salt target for the day. I've also got some behind me as well, which is definitely different. But pre going to training, I would drink this and also have my taurine as well. It's just a way to make sure that I'm getting in what's important for me, so I'm not cramping up during my session. And because my pre-workout meal is cream of rice, I don't necessarily want to be adding salt to that. So I'll just drink it. It's different.
Yeah,
but
it's
hey,
disgusting.
I'm hitting my salt target.
It's got creatine and L-glutamine in it as well, hasn't it? So getting your creatine in. Creatine gains.
I think one thing to add as well, what I think is pretty cool, working with Cal, he's a really approachable coach and he takes on board things what you say. So I think some of the previous coaches I've worked before, if I'd have said I wanted to do something like macro tracking, I don't think that probably would have went down well. Whereas Cal, he's very open-minded. He knows that I've got my set macro targets and then I'm going to meet it and I'm not going to deviate away from the plan. So it's nice to have the support of a coach in the journey. It makes it a little bit more enjoyable as well. And it also, there's less pressure because you know your coach actually listens to you, takes on board the things you're saying, and you can work together. And I think that's really important to having a coach.
How's your rice?
It's good.
Good stuff.
I think it's at the stage now where it needs that TLC, so I don't want to leave it too long because if I do, it's just going to burn and stick to the pan, and that's a waste of my rice. So I guess I'm going to be washing this up now as well because I'm the chief washer-upper.
You are.
Only for this video.
Literally.
I've never had an eating disorder, but what I remember is from my first few competitions. After the competition, or even close to finishing the competition, I'm stocking up on all the foods I want for post-show. And for me, that's almost like, that's not necessarily a good behaviour to have because you've been that restricted, you feel like after show, I'm just going to binge. And you see it quite often, like people, they'll just eat a lot of food, after post-show, rebound quite badly, they're full of water weight, and then they've got a sense of guilt. And I think doing it this way is removing any sense of guilt that I'm eating foods that I shouldn't be having, or it's not like I'm cheating my diet because I'm eating within my calories and it's good calories too.
And I think with you as well, obviously, like, you're a big guy, literally. So he does have a lot of calories, whereas like for me, so when we both came off competition prep last time, my calories take a while to build up. So it's important that I, obviously, because he can kind of get away with eating whatever, obviously we put it in his macros, but it's good for me to just be able to stick to macros but still be able to like eat bits of the things that like he's eating, so we can like socialize and do things together. Otherwise I think it would be really restrictive, and I've been there in the past where it has been like super restrictive. I think even when I first met him, I'd come off a competition prep and this is how far it's gone. That was like 2019.
I know what you're going to say already.
You asked, I was thirsty. Is this what you were thinking?
Yeah, go on.
I was thirsty, and he had a drink, and I think it was like a Lucozade, and it had like carbs in it, and like I wouldn't touch it because I was so like regimented on what I was doing, and I wasn't really tracking. Like I just wouldn't waste my energy on it. So I would just be thirsty and not have a drink, even though it was a sip. So that's how I'm talking. That's how far I've come, and I believe it's down to him as well. And yeah, it's crazy. I think he's helped me big time. Like I've helped you probably eat all the food.
Definitely, yeah, because I would say because I've never had a big appetite and I've never looked at food in that way, I can't relate to your position where you've been. But at the same time now, I appreciate the fact that I can macro track and you've got a good relationship with food. And I think it rubs off on each other. So how I behave around food is now rubs off on you, and now you've got that good positive relationship because in the past, I know if we had like four cookies in the bag, Kerry would eat all four, and I'm sitting there thinking like, you're gonna leave one for me, or you're not?
Awkward. That is awkward as well. But now it's not like that. Now it will be like, do you want a cookie? Oh no, actually, like, I don't want a cookie. Whereas like, that's mad. Used to be cookie obsessed. But yeah, so definitely like both grown together, which is good. I need to check the chicken. Whoa.
The rice is cooked. It does look good. There's a little bit what's stuck to the pan, but I think it's because I didn't have the definite pan that I wanted. I've been talking to you guys as well, but
blame it on the pan.
Yeah, it is the pan, but it's still good. It's still good. We're good. We're in business.
We can eat. Will you be able to grab the veg out? Because you've got some veg, obviously, to have. This rice is stodgy, isn't it?
What's missing? Barbecue sauce. I should have known that.
Voila, meal tea.
I'll take the credit for the rice. So now I've spoke about my rice and taken all the credit for cooking the rice. I just thought I'll show you some of the foods that I do eat while I'm macro tracking, because it can change and it can be flexible, which is the beauty of macro tracking. So I'll just go through these 3 bottles to start off with. So this one here is actually my intra workout. So this is consistent across my training days. So I don't actually have it on non-training days. And what actually goes in here is Sustain from Trained by JP. In here is my pre-workout. So I'm actually having cream of rice and also protein as well, whey protein. Then my post-workout is just the same as my pre-workout. It's just the same thing. And I prefer to have that in a drink form. I also have banana post-workout as well. So that's what's just here. So my calories are still at a decent amount. Well, I've checked in with Cal today, so that could change. It could go down a little bit more. But my appetite, the first 2 weeks when I started the competition prep, my appetite was through the roof, whereas now it's sort of like settled down. So I'm still on a decent amount of calories. I'm not necessarily what I would say hungry, but getting this in the form of a drink just helps me, and then I have my solid meals around the day as well. So loads of different foods here, loads of different varieties, and I think this is good because some days I might have cream of rice, then there might be some days when, you know what, I fancy some oats, so I might have oats, or I might have cereals. I've got baked beans here. It's not something I necessarily want right now, but when my kids are over at the weekends, it could be a thing. They're having baked beans, so I want to be sociable, so I'll have baked beans too. And it's nice to be able to have that flexibility. I've got bananas here, and next to that is plantain. This is absolute godsend. It's a popular dish in the Caribbean, coming from a Caribbean background. My parents from Jamaica and Antigua. This is something I've grown up seeing them make. I never liked it growing up, but now I'm a bit older, just a little bit older, I can appreciate it because it's so sweet. It's a good source of carbs, and it's actually classed as a fruit as well. So similar to banana, but just slightly different. And it's got a lot of good properties as well. So having that on prep as well, again, it's just something what makes it a lot more enjoyable. It's not just eating rice, it's not just eating potato, still getting a good source of carbs, and I'm helping to hit my micronutrients as well.
And he's literally got me hooked on this. This stuff is so good. If you haven't had it, have it, because it is really good, isn't it? Sometimes like fried pineapple with it. But I think like the good thing, isn't it? Like we've obviously got a range of meats here. Like we've got chicken mince. You've got I nearly said mushrooms then, definitely not meat. Salmon, you've got these hake, you've got cod, you've got prawns, there's tuna if you want it, like obviously there's whey, there's so many different like sauces. So we'll just generally decide like, oh, what should we have for dinner tonight, and then you can change your like macros around that. So if you want salmon, or you want more fats from peanut butter that day, like it's just a bit more flexible. You're hitting the same fat, the same carbs, so that's consistent. And obviously if a food doesn't respond well to you or him, then he's not obviously going to eat that. But there is a lot of options. It's like, I think even with you as well, like, and me in the past, coffee, because this is the first time I've tracked on a prep as well, coffee would always be black coffee, wouldn't it, on a prep?
Yeah, of course.
But we have a bit of almond milk in ours, and just track that in for like 100 ml, which is more than enough. We have like 50. It's like literally like 7 calories. So yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? But there's a massive range of foods that you do have, and if you fancy that, you won't even block things out, will you? Like you've just got a massive range of things which are obviously all healthy as well. Different oils, coconut oils.
I've got my seeds as well for the healthy fats. It's just nice to be able to, like I've said it a few times now, it's just that variety, and being able to have that variety, even being on prep, it makes the process enjoyable, but you're not thinking, oh, I really want that. So sometimes when I was on prep, before following a set meal plan, I'll be thinking, oh, I really fancy eating this. I'm gonna have that after prep. But now I don't have to think like that. If I want it during prep, I can have it.
And I think it almost as well, when you're like almost, because you can find, like looking back from other preps, you may find like you've got a little bit of stress where you're wanting the food, so therefore you're getting like a cortisol spike, and that, like for me, has like completely gone. Like obviously I am deeper, so it will be interesting to see, and I'm sure you'll feed back across your YouTube channel as you get into prep and how macro tracking is going for you. But like for me, I thought by now, I'm like 7 weeks out, I thought I would be on a meal plan by now. But literally we've got no issues, and like I'm just not getting that cortisol spike. Like the other day, your daughter, she had some Smarties, and I was like, oh, I could really eat one of them. So I did and weighed it. I know it's like, it sounds mad like weighing it, but I weighed it and it was fine. I could eat it, and that's it. Crack on. It wasn't any like stress or watching her eat it or becoming obsessed. So
that's it.
Yeah, it's really good.
And one of the things I remember when I was on prep and I used to live at home, and my mum would cook the Sunday dinner, and the Sunday dinner Caribbean food, it's good. I would actually go to a different room, or I'll actually go out of the house for a few hours, just because I don't want to be around my family eating that food, because it's something I would enjoy to eat. Don't get me wrong, I know what my goal was, so I don't despise them eating that food, but I just didn't want to be there in that room at the same time. Whereas now it's completely different. If I want to be there in that room eating the foods that I want to eat, or maybe even macro tracking in some of that food, I can do that. And it's nice because these are the people who are part of my journey as well, and I don't necessarily want to not be part of what's going on. And it's nice to be able to know that they're supporting my journey, and because they're supporting my journey, I can still be a part of the family, so to speak.
Yeah, I think this is an exciting YouTube to get out there, and I think like it'll be really interesting to read in the comments section below like what people think, because I really do think this is a different approach for like us both doing this. It's not common at all across the board. So yeah, so
definitely would like to know people's feedback on how they approach competition prep, how they find eating certain foods when they've got a set meal plan. Have they tried macro tracking before? And just getting people's feedback on what do you think to my approach? Like, is it something you've considered? Is it something what you might want to do in the future? And just making it open, and just putting it out there that this is the way I'm doing things for this prep, and it's something that I'm enjoying, and it could be something for you to consider in the future. So I hope you enjoyed the insight into what I eat in a day. Please like, share, subscribe, and drop me a comment as well.